There's a woman in my head writing headlines in the dark, circling in all my memories like a match without a spark. You say beauty is a blessing, but it feels more like a debt. A promise I never made, a truth I never met. I smile for strangers though the truth won't fit, like a postcard from a town I never lived in yet. And every mirror whispers stories in disguise, drawing chalk outlines underneath my eyes. I'm still waiting on your waiting list, a letter never sent. You don't see the quiet years I spent chasing every compliment. The mirror flickers softly like a fading movie reel. Your shadow walks behind me in ways you never feel. I trace the promises you folded into dust, a fragile tower built on rust. Funny how silence can sound like a crime when you're holding your breath for the 100th time. We'll take one last look, we'll take one last look, we'll take one last look, and I'll open your book and tell me just how do I look. Tell me just how do I look. There's a tremble in my stomach when you play with your dummy like a ventriloquist, pretending that it loves me. I patch up my wounds with a practiced smile, trying to make the truth walk another mile. You call it kindness when you smooth out the lie, but I feel the truth tapping at the back of my mind. You tell me I'm pretty and I need to be pretty, favorite law in this crooked city. How long before I die? How long before I die? We'll take one last look, we'll take one last look, we'll take one last look, and I'll open your book and tell me just how do I look. Story and it's only begun. The road to eternity must be long. Every daughter trade a piece of her face. Every son hides a softness he cannot replace. We're pilgrims carrying mirrors through a world full of thieves, trading our shadows for something to believe. Under all the questions we refuse to say, there's a truth trying hard to find its way. Now the TV hums in grayscale light, and the woman in my head speaks softer tonight. You're not here to be perfect skin, she says. You're here to begin again and again. So I brush off the dust from the bathroom glass, watch the past fall off me like shattered brass. For the first time ever the mirror hits hard, and I stay standing unscarred. I walk the long road with a suitcase of names, all the labels you handed out like childhood games. Too little, too bold, too soft, too shy. I carry them gently, but I won't comply. The woman in my head starts rewriting the tale, turning every failure into something frail. If this is the chapter where I learn to survive, I'll read it aloud just to feel alive. Take one last look, we'll take one last look, we'll take one last look, and I'll open my book and tell you How do I look? Go take a one last look. Go take a one last look. All the pages that you shook, I took them back, and I'm not asking how I look. We'll take a one last look. We'll take a one last look. We'll take a one last look, and I'll close your book. We'll take a one last look. We'll take a one last look. We'll take a one last look, and I'll close your book.